My dear readers, listeners, and of course, friends. I once again find myself conscripted by the YouTuber known as Hallard to address the veritable cornucopia of logical fallacies and intellectual bankruptcies that the esteemed Dr. Jordan Peterson and his guest Vivek Ramaswamy have so generously bestowed upon us. One might think that, given their lofty credentials and self-aggrandizing airs, they would have the decency to engage in something resembling coherent, rational discourse. Alas, it seems that such expectations are as naive as they are futile in this episode 440 of JP's podcast. Let us begin, shall we, with the most egregious of their offences, the straw man fallacy. This insidious tactic, beloved by charlatans and demagogues alike, involves nothing less than the willful misrepresentation of one's opponent's position. The better to attack a crude caricature rather than engaging with the substance of their arguments. And oh, how Peterson and Ramaswamy employ this fallacy with such shameless abandon. The left, they proclaim with all the certainty of a drunkard convinced of his own sobriety, seeks nothing more than the wanton destruction of our hallowed institutions, as if they were little more than petulant children throwing a temper tantrum in the midst of a toy store. Never mind the fact that many on the left have articulated detailed, nuanced critiques of the manifold injustices and systemic failures that plague our society, and have put forth thoughtful, well-reasoned proposals for reform. No, it is far easier, Vivek and Jordan, to dismiss them as nihilistic vandals, hell-bent on tearing down the very foundations of civilization itself. But the straw man is merely the appetizer in this feast of fallacies, my friends. For what is a main course without a side dish of red herring? And oh, what a pungent, odorous red herring Peterson and Ramaswamy have served up for us today. When confronted with the unassailable fact that their beloved Donald Trump is a deeply divisive figure, a man whose very existence seems to rend the fabric of our nation asunder, do they engage in a moment of honest introspection? Do they pause to consider that perhaps, just perhaps, some of the responsibility for this sorry state of affairs might lie with the man himself? Of course not. Instead, Peterson and Ramaswamy perform a dazzling feat of intellectual prestidigitation, shifting the blame to the media and the political establishment with all the subtlety of a sledgehammer to the skull. It is they, we are told, who are the true culprits, the puppet masters pulling the strings of discord and division. Never mind the fact that Trump's own words and deeds, his very essence, seem tailor-made to provoke outrage and sow the seeds of strife. No, it is far more comforting for our interlocutors to cast themselves and their hero as the innocent victims, beset on all sides by shadowy forces conspiring to bring about their downfall. And speaking of downfalls, let us turn our attention to the breathtaking inanity of the appeal to tradition fallacy that Peterson and Ramaswamy have so kindly gifted us. The United States, they assert with the confidence of a man proclaiming the earth to be flat, was founded on the unassailable principles of individual responsibility and limited government. And by God, if it was good enough for the Founding Fathers, it must be good enough for us. Never mind the fact that the world has changed just a bit in the intervening centuries, and that the challenges we face today might just require a modicum of flexibility and adaptability in our approach to governance. No, Peterson and Ramaswamy would have us cling to the past like drowning men to a leaky life raft, secure in the knowledge that the solutions of yesterday will surely suffice for the problems of tomorrow. But wait, there's more. For what is a fallacy-laden argument without a healthy dose of burden-of-proof shirking? Peterson and Ramaswamy make grand, sweeping claims about the nefarious motives and tactics of the left and the political establishment, but do they trouble themselves to provide even a shred of evidence to support these assertions? Ha! Perish the thought, dear reader. In the world of pseudo-intellectual posturing and masturbatory self-aggrandizement that Peterson and Ramaswamy inhabit, evidence is for the weak, the timid, the insufficiently enlightened. No, far better to simply assert one's baseless opinions as unassailable fact, and let the chips fall where they may. And let us not forget the false cause fallacy, a perennial favorite among those who prefer simplistic explanations to nuanced analysis. The country is divided, Peterson and Ramaswamy tell us, and the fault lies squarely at the feet of the media and the political establishment. It couldn't possibly have anything to do with the fact that Trump himself has made a veritable art form out of stoking the flames of resentment pitting Americans against one another with all the subtlety of a schoolyard bully. No, that would require a level of introspection and self-awareness that Peterson and Ramaswamy seem constitutionally incapable of mustering. But fear not, my friends, for we have not yet plumbed the full depths of this cesspool of fallacious reasoning. For what is a political argument without a hearty serving of the bandwagon fallacy? Trump's America First agenda, Peterson and Ramaswamy assure us, must be the right path forward, because so many people believe in it. Never mind the fact that history is littered with examples of popular delusions and mass hysteria, from the Salem witch trials to the Red Scare. No, if enough people jump off a cliff, it must be the wise and prudent thing to do, at least according to the impeccable logic of Peterson and Ramaswamy. And if you have the temerity to question the wisdom of following the crowd, well then, in the eyes of Peterson and Ramaswamy, you must not be a true patriot. You must be some sort of fifth columnist, a traitor to the cause, a pawn of the insidious media and political establishment that seeks to undermine our glorious leader at every turn. The genetic fallacy, in all its ugly splendor, rears its head once again, as Peterson and Ramaswamy dismiss arguments not on their merits, but on the basis of their source. It is a tactic as old as it is contemptible, a refuge for scoundrels and intellectual cowards who cannot be bothered to engage with ideas on their own terms. But let us not neglect the piece de resistance, the crown jewel in this treasure trove of logical fallacies that Peterson and Ramaswamy have so painstakingly assembled for our edification: the appeal to fear. Without the steady hand of Donald Trump at the helm, bravely dismantling the nefarious administrative state, Peterson and Ramaswamy solemnly warn us that the United States will inevitably descend into a dystopian hellscape of tyranny and chaos. The barbarians are at the gates, the Visigoths are sacking Rome, and only a strong, decisive leader can save us from the abyss. Never mind the fact that this line of argumentation has been used to justify every tin-pot dictator and petty tyrant throughout history. Never mind the fact that the Founding Fathers themselves warned us of the dangers of trading liberty for security, of surrendering our freedoms in the face of fear. No, Peterson and Ramaswamy would have us all cower in terror, begging for a savior to deliver us from the imaginary horrors that lurk around every corner. And so, my dear readers, we come to the end of this sordid little tale, this farcical display of intellectual dishonesty and rhetorical sleight of hand, brought to us by none other than Jordan Peterson and Vivek Ramaswamy. It would be amusing, perhaps, if it were not so depressingly familiar, so emblematic of the sorry state of our political discourse. But alas, we live in an age where charlatans and demagogues hold sway, where the currency of reason and truth has been debased beyond recognition. All we can do in the face of such rampant obfuscation and deceit is to cling to the principles of rational inquiry and honest debate, to hold fast to the belief that ideas should be judged on their merits, not on the basis of who espouses them or how loudly they are shouted. It is a struggle, to be sure, a battle against the forces of ignorance and bad faith that threaten to engulf us all. But it is a fight worth having, a cause worth defending. For in the end, my friends, the only alternative is a world where the likes of Peterson and Ramaswamy reign supreme, where fallacies are celebrated as wisdom, where truth is whatever those in power say it is, and where the very notion of reasoned discourse is nothing more than a quaint relic of a bygone age. And that, my dear readers, is a fate too terrible to contemplate. Thank you, and may whatever gods there be have mercy on us all, for surely Jordan Peterson and Vivek Ramaswamy will not.